The Wildwood Flower. The Carter sisters, Helen, June, and Anita, literally grew up listening to the music of their mom and their aunt and uncle, Sara and A.P. Carter, from the womb. During the Bristol recordings of August of 1927, Maybelle was pregnant with Helen, 8 months pregnant, and so Helen was there listening to the music, and she was born September 12th, a month later of 1927. Helen and Anita were especially drawn to the music. They were performing with the Carters, their aunt and uncle and mom, at very young ages, and they were writing songs before they were teenagers. They used to sing these songs in the valley there to friends and family. And the songs that got the best reaction were the songs that they kept singing. And this song that they wrote, and Helen's credited with writing it originally, The Kneeling Drunkards Plea, was very special to them their whole life. On both Helen's and June's last albums, they did a version of The Kneeling Drunkards Plea before they passed. In the book, Will You Miss Me When I'm Gone, about the Carter family, Helen talks about her and the girls going with Grandma to church and helping to clean the gravestones off, which was an old tradition brought over from Europe. And this was probably where she saw the kneeling drunk, the drunkard. In the 20s and 30s, there were a lot of stills in the hills because of Prohibition, and young kids were getting drunk, and their dads would take them back there and get them drunk, and then they would go back and they would get drunk on their own, and there was a lot of drunkards that were born from this. That's probably where the kneeling drunkard was seen, one of these trips to church with their grandma. When the Carter sisters got their first recording contract with RCA Victor in 1949, The Kneeling Drunkard's Plea was the very first song that they released. It was the first song they had written that they released, and it was on their very first 78 LP. There's only one recording of the song, in my opinion, that the arrangement and everything would have sounded like they sang back in the early 40s or mid 40s. And that's the recording on KWTO radio show, their radio show in 1949-50 from Springfield, Missouri. The host introduces it by saying, "We've getting so many cards and letters wanting to hear Anita sing the song, The Kneeling Drunkard's Plea. So we're going to oblige you now." So then they sing it, and it's absolutely beautiful, and the arrangement is what they would have sounded like back in the early 40s. Now, I will sing their song and tell the true story of the girls singing their song during World War II. But stick around, because the original recording from their radio show with Anita singing lead and Helen and June joining her on the chorus will play as soon as I'm finished. Their recording is an American treasure, in my humble opinion. The drunkard kneel and pray. Bring the darling boy was his mother's dying plea, and as he staggered through knelt down and prayed. Lord, have mercy on me. Was a kneeling drunkard's plea, and as he knelt there on the ground, I know that God in heaven will For many long years he had chosen to roam away from his loving mother and home. A drunkard's life he always led, and when he came home his mother was dead. 3 years had passed since she went away. Her son is sleeping beside her today. I know I'm in heaven, his mother he'll see, for God had heard the drunkard's plea. In 1943, the Carter sisters had their radio show in Richmond, Virginia, doing their part, singing their songs, trying to help keep the morale up at home. People would come from miles around on a Saturday afternoon to see the Carter sisters. They would, hopefully, June would make them laugh. She was gifted that way. They all were gifted. But Anita, the baby sister, she had the sweetest voice of the Appalachia. So this song is a song they wrote when they were young girls, growing up in Mesa Springs, rural Virginia. And it intrigued me. I wanted to find out more about it after I heard it, the recording from 1949. So through the miracle of Facebook and Facebook friends, I found some people who had heard him sing on the radio back in Richmond days, and I wanted to know if they had heard him sing this song. So I called this one lady up who was a real positive lady. She was nearing 80 years old at the time, and I posed the question. Did you ever hear the Carter sisters sing the Kneeling Drunkards Plea on the radio or in person? And like she'd waited 70 years to answer that question, she immediately said this. My mom used to take me and my sister down to see the Carter sisters. They were our favorite group. And Anita was kind of my favorite Carter sister, as she was only a few years older than me, as I was only 6 or 7 at the time and during World War II. And Anita was only 10 or 11. And she would stand on a wooden soda crate so she could reach the chords on the big old bass fiddle, front and center, and sing lead to this song that they had wrote. With a Helen on her left with the accordion and June on her right. They would sing beautiful sister harmony on the chorus. And Mother Maybelle didn't sing on this one. This was the girls' song. So their singing is so pretty, she says. And I looked up, and all the adults I saw were crying, tears running down their face. I mean, the adults were pretty much moms and grandmas and grandpas during World War II, as fathers and brothers and husbands and mothers' sons were off to war. We lost a lot at Pearl Harbor just a few years before this. So she went on to say they were crying, and I had no idea why they were crying. The girls were singing so pretty, just like I'd heard it on the radio. A couple years later, she said she heard it, and she busted out crying because she'd grown up a little more and she'd understand why the adults were crying when she saw it a few years earlier. So this song inspired me. First, the song inspired me. Then the story about them singing it in World War II inspired me to write a book. And this is a chorus that the Carter sisters never sang. But I think the adults were hearing in their heads that day, back in World War II. It goes like this. Lord, have mercy on me, was the dying soldier's plea, and as he lay there on the ground, I know that God Lord, have mercy on me, was the kneeling drunkard's plea, and as he knelt there on the ground, I know that God in heaven looked
Friends, you've been awfully nice to us with your mail, all your cards and letters, and so many friends have asked to have Anita do this next number. We're going to answer it right now. The Kneeling Drunkards Plea.
I went down by an old country church. I saw a drunkard stagger and lurch, and as he reached his mother's grave, mother